Hey Grownups, do you want to give your Tailblazer a learning boost that feels more like fun than homework? Girl Tales is proud to be sponsored by IXL, the online learning platform trusted by millions of kids, parents, and teachers. With thousands of interactive skills across math, language arts, science, and social studies, IXL makes learning engaging and personalized. Whether your Tailblazer needs extra practice or wants to get ahead, IXL adapts to their level and helps them grow with confidence. And the best part? It's fun. Your Tailblazer can earn virtual awards, track their progress, and build real-world skills, all at their own pace. Try IXL today and discover how it can support your child's learning journey. Head to IXL.com/tales, that's TALES, to start exploring. Now, on to today's story. Hey Grownups, guess what? We have 2 amazing Girl Tales events coming up. We're going to be live and in person. First, we are headed to Washington, D.C. for the Girl Tales Flip the Fairy Tale workshop at the Kennedy Center on Saturday, March 8th. We will hear a brand new live Girl Tales episode and then rewrite a fairy tale together, Girl Tales style. Then we're headed to Brooklyn, New York on Sunday, March 23rd, where we are hosting the Girl Tales Arts and Storytelling Workshop. You can expect arts and crafts, we're going to hear a new Girl Tales story, and we're going to create a brand new story together. Spots are limited, so grab your tickets ASAP. And if you can't make it to the IRL events, that's okay. We still have the Girl Tales Club, where we meet virtually, and I will read a new Girl Tales story, and your Tailblazers will get the chance to hear the story before anyone else and give us their feedback and help shape the next episode. You can find all of the information, purchase tickets, sign up for Girl Tales Club over at girltalespodcast.com/events. That's girltalespodcast.com/events, or check out the info in the show notes. I can't wait to see you all. Hey Tailblazers, I'm Rebecca Cunningham, and this is Girl Tales, a kids podcast packed with girl power and stories where every child's voice matters. Before we get started, I'd like to wish a very happy 6th birthday to Mabel KL in Sydney, Australia. Mabel, I hope you have the best 6th birthday ever. Thank you so much for listening to Girl Tales. Grownups, Girl Tales is brought to you by families like yours. If you would like to hear your child's name at the top of our next episode, or if you would like me to wish them a happy birthday, head to patreon.com/girltales and join a team today. Now on to our episode. This is The Key to Ada Lovelace, an adaptation of The Master Key by L. Frank Baum. Enjoy! I'd like to tell you about a friend of mine. Her name is Joslyn Roberta Isla Kate Scottsdale, but you can call her Joslyn. She's an incredibly inquisitive girl who has a fascination for technology. She wholeheartedly believes every machine is figure-outable, no matter how complicated it is. Old cell phones, TVs from the 1950s, fax machines, typewriters. If it has wires, gears, or circuits, she's taken it apart, put it back together, and turned it into an even better machine. She does it all in the Scottsdale family's attic, which has been converted into Joslyn's workshop. Hanging on the wall in there is a painting of Ada Lovelace, Joslyn's personal hero and brilliant mathematician who created the first computer program 200 years ago. Up there in the workshop, it's just Joslyn, the painting, the gadgets, and all the wires that lead to all the devices in the rest of the house. Because you see, Joslyn has wired their home to function at peak efficiency, at least in her mind. The entire house is connected through the wire system and an app she designed and named The Key. Through The Key, The coffee pot turns on the moment her dad yawns. Her mom's blow dryer hovers in place, so her hands are free to do other things. And Joslyn built a drone that follows her grandpa Frank around, just in case he takes a fall. He's getting older, and it really worries her.
Dagnabbit! These gosh darn hoogie what's-its, Joslyn!
Her grandpa Frank is not a fan of the key. Sorry, Grandpa. It's just to keep you safe.
Tell that to this vase you just broke.
Joslyn's inventions, while brilliant, do not always work as planned. Let's just say the system has its glitches. The other morning, right before school, her dad yawned and the coffee pot sputtered instead of turning on. At the same time, her mom's hairdryer short-circuited. And Grandpa Frank's drone, well, that was working just fine.
Dagnabbit!
Joslyn had a few minutes before the school bus arrived. Just enough time to figure out what went wrong. Again. When she got up to her workshop, Joslyn was ready to give up on all of her projects entirely. Nothing ever went right, and it was getting to be overwhelming. She looked at the painting of Ada Lovelace. Ada would probably give it one more shot. So she crisscrossed the wires, unplugged and plugged everything back in, and updated the key on her tablet. She waited to hear the rest of the house whirring with the hum of its many devices. But there was silence. Joslyn thought. This calls for a serious reboot. If I connect all of these wires together while pressing the start button in the key, that might do the trick. Well, here goes nothing. Joslyn crossed all of the wires that led from every room in her house, put them together, opened up the key, and pressed start. Uh-oh, now I've done it. The key app started to glitch, making a bunch of weird beeps and boop sounds. Then flash! There was a bright light that filled Joslyn's workshop. She covered her face to protect herself. But after a moment, she realized she was safe. As she lowered her hands, the bright light was still glowing in a corner of her workshop. There was a woman floating there. She had a knowing look on her face, her arms crossed as she stared at Joslyn. Gears, wires, and changing patterns of code made up her elaborate Victorian dress. And atop her head was a beautiful hat and veil made of what Joslyn could only guess was electricity. That's where the light was coming from. She looked an awful lot like Ada Lovelace?
My goodness, I am here! Finally.
Yes, you are, but how and why?
One question at a time, please.
Ada floated toward Joslyn.
I've been stuck in the code of an unfinished invention since 1852. You turned the key, which summoned all the devices to unite as one and release me.
The key? Like my app?
Katherine Johnson, Grace Hopper, Hedy Lamarr, all great minds. None have succeeded in doing it.
She leaned in.
But you, Joslyn, Roberta, Isla, Kate, Scottsdale, have done it.
You know my name?
I know everything. It is really astonishing how little humans have learned about technology since I've been gone. If you truly understood its proper use, you could transform your world for the better. I am here to grant you 3 wishes.
Like in fairy tales?
Yes, precisely. Provided they are within the scope of technology, I will grant them.
But I didn't know you were coming, so I don't really know what to wish for. Plus, I have to get to school. I have definitely missed the bus by now.
Perfect. I will decide what the wishes are. I've been watching and waiting for many, many years to show the human race what technology is capable of.
Wait, that's not how...
Your first wish. Eating is a waste of time. Everyone is choosing options that are unhealthy or environmentally destructive. Here.
A handful of little tablets appeared in Joslyn's palm. Whoa.
Each tablet stores certain elements of electricity, which are capable of nourishing a human body for a full day. All that is needed is to swallow 1 tablet each day. It will nourish you, satisfy your hunger, and build up your health and strength.
But I like food.
Your second wish. Every person requires defense from their enemies.
I don't think I have enemies.
For all time, humans have used horrid weapons in war and on the streets. This causes great harm and can take away another person's life. That is morally and ethically wrong. Here.
A small metallic tube landed in Joslyn's hand.
Place it in your pocket, please. Whenever an enemy threatens you, be it human or beast, simply point the tube and press this button. A laser beam will shoot toward your enemy and they will fall asleep for 1 hour exactly. During that time, you run away. Once the hour is up, your enemy will wake up with an annoying headache.
That's it?
Your third wish. I've seen how humans now travel in great, unwieldy machines which offer so much resistance to the air that they are quite useless. They are a waste of time and pollute the atmosphere.
Do you mean airplanes?
Exactly. Here's a machine I made.
It looks like a watch.
Yes, it does. When you want to travel, put the watch on your left wrist. Then tell the watch up when you are ready to rise in the air.
Up. Whoa! Ow, my head.
Now tell the watch down, please.
Down.
When you are actually ready to travel and you have risen as high as you wish, tell the watch what location you'd like to go. You will be carried by an electric force in that direction. Do you understand?
I think so.
Good. The devices will cease to exist by midnight.
What is this, Cinderella? You said you wanted to show the human race what technology is capable of. I'm just one girl. How am I going to show all of humanity what you can do with these devices? I don't even know how they work.
All machines are figure-outable. Put them to good use and change the world for the better. Goodbye, Joslyn.
And in another flash, Ada was gone. Joslyn jumped. It was Grandpa Frank hitting the ceiling with his cane.
Joslyn, aren't you supposed to be at school?
I'm not feeling too good, Grandpa. I think I'm gonna stay home today.
Kids these days, too weak, I tell you. Back in my day, we went to school if our butts were on fire.
To be clear, Joslyn would never think of skipping school on any other day. She loved learning and had perfect attendance. But she had only until midnight to figure out these machines and prove to all of humanity what technology was capable of doing. Only way to understand them is to use them first, I guess, she said to herself. Then she popped a food tablet in her mouth. Tastes like fuzzy bananas? Not bad. And hey, I'm full and I feel stronger somehow. Weird, how did she do this? Joslyn wondered as she chewed. I'll have to figure it out later. Okay, next device. She pulled out the metallic tube and looked around. There's no one around to test it out on, and she certainly didn't want to do it to herself since she didn't have time for a 1-hour nap. So she put it back in her pocket to test out later. Now, the watch. I've got to get outside first. Joslyn quietly opened the attic window. She brought the watch to her mouth and whispered, Up. Joslyn lifted up out of the window and above the Scottsdale family roof. She whooped with joy. Woohoo! I'm flying! Then she clapped a hand over her mouth. If Grandpa Frank caught her, she would be grounded for life. She swallowed her excitement and thought fast. Where to go? Where would Ada go? Maybe she'd go back to where she lived? Joslyn lifted the watch back up to her mouth. London, England, please. And she was off. Faster than any plane, any bullet train. Whoa. Faster than the speed of light. She passed through clouds, birds scattered, helicopters seemed frozen in place. The ocean sparkled beneath her. Wow. How marvelous and also dizzying. She wished she could figure out how this machine on her wrist worked. Some kind of electromagnetic propulsion? A gravitational field manipulator? But before she could figure it out, she was above land again. And was that London's clock, Big Ben? There it is. It was. Down. And just like that, she was standing on the cobbled streets of London. But where to first? Ada told her to change the world for the better. she should spread the word about these amazing devices, but no one knew her here. She'd need someone with influence, someone who could really make a difference. The King of England, of course. Joslyn followed the signs directing her to Buckingham Palace. She could have flown, but she didn't want to cause a citywide panic in her first hour there. When she finally arrived, she was awestruck. Buckingham Palace was all that she dreamed of, as regal gets. But it was surrounded by guards in red coats and tall black hats. How was she going to get in? Well, there really was only one way, and that was to walk straight into the palace. So she did just that.
Halt!
Yelled the guard.
Excuse me, I'm in a hurry. You see, I have to get home to Freshwater by midnight.
The guard went to grab his weapon. Joslyn's heart skipped a beat. But then she remembered the metallic tube. She got it out and pressed the button. Ha! A laser beam shot out of it. The guard immediately dropped his weapon, started to yawn, and then laid down on the ground in the fetal position.
Night-night. Sorry, you'll be up in an hour,
Joslyn said to him, and she ran to the palace steps. When she opened the door, King Charles himself walked by. He looked like he was in the middle of a very important conversation with the Prime Minister. Without thinking, Joslyn walked right up to them.
Your Majesty,
she blurted out, and then suddenly remembered she was supposed to curtsy. She quickly and awkwardly bent down, tangling her legs in the process.
I've important news for you.
Who are you, dear girl?
I'm Joslyn, and I need to show you these new inventions.
It looks like a wristwatch. Not exactly groundbreaking.
The king and prime minister began to walk away. Joslyn was not going to lose this opportunity. She lifted the watch to her mouth and said,
"Up."
Just then, she rose to the top of the ceiling of Buckingham Palace.
Your Majesty, Mr. Prime Minister,
she called out. Just then, they both turned around and looked up, amazed at what they were seeing.
What are you doing up there?
It's my watch. It allows me to fly, and I can be anywhere in the world within minutes. It's a new invention.
And did you invent it?
Well, no, not quite. Ada Lovelace did.
Ada Lovelace? She's been gone for quite some time. Anyway, where can I purchase one?
Well, they're not for sale.
Then why, may I ask, are you showing it to me?
Because technology should be used for good. This machine could revolutionize transportation and pollution. And that's not all. There's this.
Joslyn threw the food tablets to the king, who caught them in his hand.
Each tablet stores certain elements of electricity which are capable of nourishing a human body for a full day. I still like eating food, but these could be useful.
King Charles and the Prime Minister looked at each other warily, and then each placed one in their mouth.
Not bad. Tastes a bit like electric bananas.
Joslyn beamed.
And then there's this.
She held up the metallic tube.
It's a non-lethal defense mechanism. Instead of harming people, it just makes them take a nap for an hour. We could get rid of dangerous weapons everywhere.
And where can I purchase them?
Again, they are...
Not for sale. Yes.
But once I figure out how these things work, you will be the first person I tell. Promise.
Very well. I'm off to open a new session of Parliament now. Good luck with your flying machine and food pills and such.
Oh, Your Majesty?
Yes?
Could you remind Parliament that technology should be used for good? That it's capable of much more than we ever imagined. It can feed the hungry, end wars, and protect the environment.
Yes, I think I can do that.
Oh, and tell them to remember the name. Joslyn Roberta Isla Kate Scottsdale.
Perhaps I will.
Joslyn smiled as the king walked away. She then spent the rest of the day taking in the sights of London, and then made her last stop to 12 St. James's Square, where Ada Lovelace lived from 1812 until she was lost in the code of the unfinished invention in 1852. She imagined what life was like for Ada back then. inventing machines and programs that would change the world. Then she glanced at her watch. 11:59 p.m. She only had seconds to get home. She spoke into it. Home. And just like that, she was soaring across the Atlantic, watching the lights of London disappear behind her. Within moments, she could see the Sing Estate, Freshwater Lake, and the roof of the Scottsdale family home below her. She was back in Freshwater. Down, she told the watch, and she glided through the attic window and back into her workshop. As she did, the clock struck midnight. She felt the watch on her wrist buzz and then fade away. She checked her pockets. The food tablets and the metallic tube were gone too. I spent so much time using the devices, I never got to take them apart and figure out how they worked. She stood there, disappointed in herself. All was quiet except for the whir of the machines and wires. Everyone must have been asleep and somehow did not realize she was gone. Maybe that was a part of Ada's magic too? Ada. She looked over at the painting of her, hoping she'd pop out and give her all of the answers. But nothing. Then the key app chimed with a notification. The sound of a key unlocking a door. She couldn't take the devices apart, but she could unlock their mystery without them. Joslyn grabbed a notebook and started sketching. She was determined to figure those machines out. She had to.
Joslyn, aren't you supposed to be asleep?
Sorry, Grandpa, just 5 more minutes. Joslyn kept working, surrounded by wires, half-finished projects, and the painting of Ada above her. From her home, her workshop, her favorite place, Joslyn was determined to change the world for the better. That was The Key to Ada Lovelace, a story adapted from The Master Key by L. Frank Baum, written by Rebecca Cunningham, produced by Tessa Flannery, performed by Rebecca Cunningham and Tessa Flannery, executive produced by Rebecca Cunningham. Grownups, thanks for listening to Girl Tales with your Tailblazers. Before you go, here are some questions to help keep the conversation going with your child. What part of today's story did you enjoy the most, and why? Did you connect with a character in this story? Did you learn something new? How did you feel about this story? Did it remind you of something in your own life? We hope this sparks some fun and meaningful conversations. Girl Tales is a Cordelia Studios production. Grownups, you can get access to ad-free episodes of Girl Tales, as well as a range of other shows for the kids in your life by subscribing to Starglow Plus on Apple Podcasts. If you'd like to hear me narrate the original stories of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, or Rebecca of Sunnybrook Farm, head to patreon.com/girltales and join Team Sunnybrook or above. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review wherever you get your podcasts. And hey, if you loved this story, share it with a friend. Oh, and remember, I believe in you.
There's a hill and a road and a path where I know you must go. Through the sun, wind, rain, or snow. But wherever you venture, you can always come home. 'Cause I trust your heart, I trust my heart, and I trust your mind, I trust my mind, and I trust the friends, I trust the friends I know you will find o'er the hill and on the road. So off you go. I believe in you.
Starglow!
Hey grown-ups, have your Tailblazers always wanted to be a part of the story-making process here at Girl Tales? Here is their chance. We are officially launching the Girl Tales Club. as a club member, your Tailblazers will get exclusive invites to live virtual sessions where I will read brand new Girl Tales stories that no one has ever heard before. These will be rough drafts, so to speak, and anyone who is a Girl Tales Club member can provide us with their feedback. It might shape the final draft of the story. Plus, they'll get to meet other Tailblazers. You can also add on the Girl Tales Club starter pack. It's packed with goodies like a vintage book of fairy tales, a notebook, stickers, and more to really kickstart their storytelling journey. Sign your Tailblazer up for the Girl Tales Club for just $7 a month at patreon.com/girltales today. That's patreon.com/girltales.